She had two phones, one for work, one for us. I called the work number one night. A man answered. I said, "Sorry, wrong number." Then I texted her. "You answered the right way, just to the wrong person." I met Sarah at a coffee shop in downtown Seattle. It was one of those rainy afternoons where the city feels like it's wrapped in a gray blanket. She was sitting by the window, sipping on a latte, engrossed in a book. I was immediately drawn to her. We struck up a conversation, and before I knew it, we were spending every weekend together. She was smart, funny, and had this infectious energy that made everything seem brighter. I was smitten. After a few months of dating, she mentioned that she had two phones. One was her personal phone, and the other was for work. She was a marketing consultant, always juggling multiple clients, so it made sense. I didn't think much of it. But then, little things started to feel off. She'd get texts late at night on her work phone and would step outside to take calls. When I asked about it, she'd say it was a client in a different time zone. I wanted to trust her, so I let it go. One evening, she left her work phone on the kitchen counter while she took a shower. It buzzed with a message, "Can't wait to see you tonight." My heart sank. I knew I shouldn't snoop, but curiosity got the better of me. I picked up the phone and saw a string of messages from someone named Jake. They were flirty, intimate, and clearly not work-related. I felt like the floor had been pulled out from under me. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I decided to dig deeper. I took note of the number and did a reverse lookup. It was registered to a man named Jake Thompson. I found his social media profiles, and sure enough, there were pictures of him and Sarah together, looking very much like a couple. I was devastated. That night, I called the number from my own phone. A man answered. "Hello," he said. "Sorry, wrong number." I replied, my voice shaking. I hung up and sent Sarah a text. "You answered the right way, just to the wrong person." She didn't respond. The next day, I packed up my things and left. I didn't leave a note, didn't say goodbye. I just walked away. It's been a few months now. I'm still healing, still trying to make sense of it all. But writing this down has helped. Maybe it will help someone else too. 2 weeks after I left, she texted me. "We need to talk. Please." I didn't reply. I couldn't. Not after seeing those messages. Not after hearing a man answer the phone that was supposed to be for work. But silence wasn't enough for her. She started showing up. First at my apartment. Then at my job. She'd wait in the parking lot, hoping I'd talk to her. One time, I walked right past her like she was invisible. She cried right there on the hood of her car. My coworkers watched. It was awkward as hell. A part of me still hurt for her. But a bigger part? It was boiling. Then I got the email. It was from Jake. "I think we need to talk. Man to man." At first, I didn't answer. But curiosity? It's a powerful thing. We met at a small bar near Pike Place Market. Middle of the afternoon. Quiet. Jake wasn't what I expected. He wasn't loud. Or angry. He looked tired. Real tired. "I just found out last week," he said, after we ordered 2 beers and sat down. I thought I was her only one. Turns out, Sarah had a third life. She was living with Jake on and off for almost 2 years. And with me? A year and a half. She'd bounce back and forth. Said she traveled for work. Said she had clients out of town. Meanwhile, she was sleeping in 2 beds, telling 2 men she loved them. She even met my mom, Jake said, rubbing his face. She stayed at our family's beach house last summer. My stomach twisted. She told me she went to a retreat for female entrepreneurs that same week. We sat in silence for a while. Then Jake pulled out his phone. "I want you to see something," he said. He showed me a picture. Sarah, with a third guy, arms around each other, kissing. This time, in San Diego. She told me he was a former coworker she stayed friends with, Jake said. But I checked. He's not just a friend. 3 phones. 3 men. 1 Sarah. And somehow, she kept the circus going for almost 3 years. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, just turning everything over in my mind. The lies. The moments that suddenly made sense now. How good she was at switching tones. How she could cry in one room, laugh in another, and never miss a beat. She wasn't sloppy. She was strategic. Cold. Calculated. But here's the twist. I checked my old phone bill the next morning. I wanted to see how long she'd been talking to this Jake guy. Just to put a date to it. That's when I saw it. Another number. One I didn't recognize. Logged dozens of calls. Some over an hour long. I Googled it. Belonged to a man named Marcus. Lived in Arizona. So I called him. He answered. When I told him my name and why I was calling, he sighed. You too, huh? He said. Turns out Marcus dated her 4 years ago. It ended badly. He caught her lying, caught her juggling 2 other guys. She ghosted him, moved on, started the cycle again. That's when something inside me snapped. This wasn't just about me anymore. I wasn't gonna let her do this again. Not to someone else. Not if I could stop it. And that, right there, was when the revenge started to take shape. So here I am. 3 of us, unknowingly caught in the same web. Me, Jake, and Marcus. And the more I dug, the more names started popping up. Turns out, Sarah had a type, decent guys with decent jobs, just emotionally available enough to care, but too trusting to look too deep. She had patterns. Jake and I started comparing calendars, dates, trips, phone records. It was like playing detective, but with heartbreak as the evidence. And then came the biggest twist yet. Jake found a Facebook profile. Not Sarah's real one, the polished public one, but a hidden one. Different name, different picture. She went by Samantha Chase there. Same eyes though, same smile. On that profile, photos of her in Vegas, on yachts, at VIP events, dressed like someone I barely recognized. It looked like a different life. It was a different life. She was working as an event coordinator for private parties, but the kind of parties that involved rich men, blurred lines, and cash tips. Suddenly, the weird cash-only payments she sometimes got for consulting gigs made sense. This wasn't just emotional cheating anymore. It was a scam, a lifestyle. She had been living double, no, triple, maybe even quadruple lives. I went from hurt to sick. Sick at how deep this went. Sick at how I had fallen for it. How many of us had? Marcus added one more detail. I lost $5,000, he said. She convinced me to invest in her startup idea, then disappeared. That lit a fire in me. So I made a plan. No big explosions. No yelling matches. Just pure, surgical revenge. I built a new site. Fake, but real enough. It looked like a company was hiring freelance consultants. Flexible hours. Remote work. High pay. I posted it in a private women's group on Facebook that I knew Sarah watched. A place where Samantha was known. I made it irresistible. A few days later, she applied. Resume. Headshot. Even wrote a cover letter full of fake accomplishments. Perfect. I created a fake recruiter. Gave him a profile, a voice. Called her for a video interview. Used voice modulation software and a stock image for the face. She bought every bit of it. Then I started asking questions. Deep questions. Tell me about your past client work. Any conflicts with past partners? How do you handle betrayal in business? She answered like a pro. Smiled. Lied like it was nothing. I recorded the whole thing. Then I sent it to Jake. And Marcus. We all watched it. Together. Over beer and silence. Then we sent it to her. All 3 of us. Same email. Subject line. Caught. Her reply? Just one sentence. I deserve whatever's coming. But that wasn't the end. A week later, a woman named Dana messaged me on Instagram. Said she used to date Sarah too. Yep. Sarah had even dated women. I knew something was off, Dana wrote. She was too polished. Too careful. Sarah wasn't just a cheater. She was a shapeshifter. She didn't fall in love. She hunted. Adapted. Took what she needed. So here's where I am now. 6 people in a group chat. All victims. All fooled. And we're not done yet. We're not just sharing stories anymore. We're building something else. But that's for the next part of this mess. 6 of us. All burned. All angry. We didn't want to just move on. We wanted to make it matter. We formed a private chat. We called ourselves The Wreckage. Our goal was simple. Make sure Sarah never did this again. No more sweet talking. No more lies. No more damage. We wanted to end the show she was running. So we built a website. Called it The Mirror. It wasn't flashy. Just the facts. Our stories. Screenshots. Timelines. Photos, with faces blurred, privacy respected, but the truth laid out clean. A warning to anyone she might try to charm next. We didn't post her name, but we left enough clues. Enough for anyone who knew her to connect the dots. Then came the email. From Sarah. You're ruining my life. No apology. No regret. Just anger. Pure rage. She threatened legal action. Claimed defamation. But we were careful. Everything on the site, backed with proof. Nothing made up. Every lie she told us, quoted word for word, with dates and receipts. Still, we were nervous. What if she did take us to court? But the opposite happened. She disappeared. No trace. All her social media gone. Her LinkedIn wiped. The Samantha Chase profiles vanished too. For a few weeks, we thought that was the end. But then I made a mistake. A big one. I got cocky. I wrote a blog post on Medium. Anonymous. But full of fire. I said things I shouldn't have, too specific, too emotional. I didn't name her, but I described her. Too clearly. And she found it. She sent a lawyer after me. Not to sue, but to scare. A cease and desist letter, filled with legal talk I barely understood. I panicked. I took the post down. I deleted everything. But the damage was done. Jake was furious. We had rules, he said. You just gave her a weapon. He was right. I did. I got caught up in the revenge. It felt good for a while. Too good. But I forgot that revenge cuts both ways. Our group fell apart. Some stayed quiet. Others backed off. Jake blocked me. Marcus moved on. Dana stopped replying. I was alone again. And then one last twist. I got a text. Unknown number. She's doing it again. Different name. Different state. Attached was a screenshot. A Tinder profile. Same smile. New name. Tessa. Location. Austin, Texas. Still in the game. Still playing. That night, I sat in my apartment and stared at my reflection for a long time. I wasn't proud anymore. We tried to stop her. We tried to be heroes. But maybe she didn't care. Maybe people like her never stop. Maybe revenge just makes you more like them. So I shut everything down. Deleted the group chat. Took down the site. Packed up the pieces and left them in the past. But sometimes, late at night, I still get the urge to call her burner number. To say, you answered the right way, just to the wrong person. But I never hit send. Because I already know how the story ends. Not with her. With me. Learning the hard way that love, lies, and revenge, they all leave scars. But some, you choose to keep.